that Jesus Christ is alive. He rose from the dead, and that day, that Easter Sunday morning, that first Easter, they saw the angel sitting there. And they said, "Where is Jesus?" The angel said, "He is not here, he is risen." I submit to you tonight that that's the greatest news the world has ever heard.
I'm Nick.
And I'm Taryn, and this is our story.
We grew up in the same area. We're both local. For the most part, we didn't really hang out despite kind of knowing of each other. The story of us falling in love, I think, starts with Chipotle. In the college town we went to, the closest Chipotle was about 45 minutes away. We would just jump in the car. Decided to do that together quite often. We really got to know each other. We became really, really close, purely from a friend standpoint, to the point where I think she was my best friend. I don't know if it was reciprocated, but here we are 9 years later.
At some point when we were dating and we started taking that next step, I told him that church was very important to me and that my relationship with God was very important to me, and that if he didn't really want to start having a relationship with God or going to church and joining me in that at some point I was like, well, I don't know if this is going to go on anymore.
I want to know which wavelengths you're hanging on. I want to know which light you keeping on.
When I was younger, sports kind of took over. So every Sunday you're gone, you're out of town, you're playing games. And my family kind of fell outside of going to church. I told myself when we started dating, there was no way I was going to be the one to screw this up. So it was like, okay, I'll go to church with you.
So yes, when we moved back from college, we moved back home, and I moved in with my parents, he moved in with his parents, and that's when we started going to Journey.
Then when you walk in, you feel God's presence. It wasn't something that I was expecting, and I think that kind of opened the door for me, where I was like, okay, there's more than what you have experienced before. And at some point you have to buy in, right? And I think for me, a portion of that was fasting. We were going through a fast probably 2 years ago. I had started to pray for the wedding, and I had kind of come to the realization that in our relationship, she was really the leader with faith. It was time for her and our marriage. I want to be the spiritual leader of our family. So the things I started to do really was read. We would start a plan together. 7 days, can't let her get ahead of me. I'm going to have to commit to it each day, making sure that we are praying together, that we're praying for the same things, that we're praying for the people in our life.
There's just transformation that happens when you pursue your relationship with God, and it is definitely a ripple effect. We have brought our friends to church and even his parents, and they didn't really go to church before Journey, and they now come to church.
So it's just cool to see God kind of work.
I have been going to church for as long as I remember, and just witnessing from both my mom and my grandma, just them praying for us and teaching us how to love like Jesus. I'm just super blessed and happy to have them as my mentors, and eventually pass that down to my future daughter.
I think my relationship with God now is to the point where, I'm hoping to instill generational blessings with my children, and I'm hoping to sit by my daughter's bed from the time she's here, when she comes, all the way until I'm not here. She's gonna get to grow up in a home where she gets to see her parents pray together and pray for things, and hopefully those things come true. And if they're not meant to come true, that's okay. That's what God's plan's for, and she'll know that. And our future kids, if we're lucky enough to have them, are gonna see the same things. They're gonna be raised in a home where they get to see their parents have an individual relationship with God, have a marriage under God, and have a family who follows God. I'm so excited to have her come into a world where God is the focal point of her life.
Christ is alive. He has conquered the grave. He's a living Savior.